Noah Neller stood on the opposite curb, clutching a lukewarm gas station coffee, the bitter taste only intensifying the unease simmering in his gut. Across the street, the red brick restaurant looked just like the others he had built, at least from the outside. It was the 19th store in what had once been his dream-turned-blueprint-turned-business empire. But right now, it felt foreign, like something he didn't recognize. The lunch crowd had begun to swell. Teenagers in oversized hoodies jostled each other as they entered, while parents shuffled in with strollers and sleepy toddlers. On paper, this location was holding its own. Revenue steady, no major flags. But over the past few months, complaints had been surfacing. Cold food, long waits, staff snapping at customers. The kind of things that didn't show up in spreadsheets until it was too late. Something about it all just didn't sit right. Kyle, his district manager, had brushed it off. "Growing pains," he said with a shrug. But Noah knew better. This store had opened during the worst stretch of the pandemic, when supply chains collapsed like dominoes and labor shortages had turned every hiring session into a crisis. He'd been knee-deep in chaos, trying to keep the whole brand from buckling. That meant this team was hired without his input. Now that the dust had finally started to settle, he needed to see what was really going on. But not as the founder, not as the man in the expensive suit. He flipped the visor down in his truck and stared at his reflection. His thick brown beard was gone, leaving his face exposed and unfamiliar. A pair of generic pharmacy glasses sat on the bridge of his nose. His button-down had been swapped for a rumpled gray polo, sleeves clumsily rolled. He looked like a guy trying to piece his life back together after things had fallen apart. That was exactly the look he was going for. With a measured breath, Noah stepped into the restaurant. The air inside was a cocktail of fryer oil and fatigue. He approached the counter like any new hire might, unsure, cautious, slightly embarrassed. "Hey, I'm Nick," he said, voice carrying a faint tremor. "I was told to start training here today." Behind the counter stood a short, thick-set man with a sheen of sweat on his forehead. The name tag read, Travis. He barely looked up from his tablet. "Yeah, Kyle mentioned someone. You're late," he muttered, not even pretending to make eye contact. "I was told 11. Doesn't matter. Grab a headset and follow Jaime." He grunted toward a girl near the fryer station. Jaime looked over, managed a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. She couldn't have been older than 20, yet her movements were fast and automatic, like someone who'd learned to survive by not slowing down. "Come on, Nick, I'll show you the line." As he followed her toward the kitchen, Noah's eyes swept across the room. The floors were slick with grease, prep tables cluttered, with half-used ingredients, and in the corner, a cracked mop bucket leaned precariously against the wall. The place wasn't falling apart, but it wasn't far from it. Jaime handed him a pair of gloves, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Sorry about Travis. He's always like that. Checked out when he's here, and most of the time, he's not. Says he's managing remotely." Noah bit the inside of his cheek, holding back the flash of anger. This was his name on the door, his reputation. But he nodded like any trainee might. Got it. Over the next 2 hours, he shadowed Jaime and a young man named Darnell, who manned the grill with the kind of quiet precision Noah respected. Darnell double-checked every order, wiped down his station religiously, and helped anyone nearby without needing to be asked. He wasn't loud. He didn't show off. He just worked, clean, focused, disciplined. Noah was starting to feel the rhythm when a kid in a faded red hat approached the counter, his body language hesitant. He couldn't have been more than 16. Hey, I just wanted to ask, do we get pay stubs online or—" Travis didn't even lift his head. "With this again, Matt," he snapped. "I told you, you're 15, right? Relax. You're not paying rent." Noah paused mid-rap. Jaime stopped mid-flip. Matt swallowed, his voice cracking a little. "I just want to make sure I'm getting paid." "You'll get it when it comes. You think I got time to print out a slip and hold your hand?" Travis barked. then let out a loud laugh, loud enough that two customers turned their heads. "Man, you Gen Z kids are soft." Noah felt something knot in his chest. Matt's cheeks flared red as he looked down and retreated without another word. He walked back to the drive-through window, his small frame practically folding in on itself. "That's the third time he's asked," Jaime murmured under her breath. "Kid's been working every day after school." Noah stared toward the front of the store. "That normal here?" Jaime shrugged, but her voice was quiet. "Yeah, ask too many questions and Travis makes you feel dumb. Most of us just stopped asking." Noah's jaw locked. This wasn't the culture he had sacrificed years of his life to build. This wasn't the kind of place he had once dreamed of, where teenagers felt ashamed for asking about their paychecks. The rest of the shift dragged under a cloud. Travis vanished into the back for over an hour. Jaime juggled the kitchen. Darnell never slowed. Matt stayed quiet, a wounded silence clinging to him. When Noah finally left, the restaurant glowed against the night sky, a red neon beacon that once symbolized pride. Now it felt like a warning light. He sat in his truck for a long time, staring at the logo. He had worked that same line for years, shoulder to shoulder with teams who believed in something bigger than minimum wage. He knew what effort looked like. And he also knew when something was broken. This place, it was broken. The next morning, Noah parked a block away again. He arrived just before sunrise. The restaurant opened at 6. By 6:20, the first line of commuters had already formed. Construction workers, delivery drivers, moms in half-buttoned cardigans trying to beat the school bell. He entered through the back like the others. No fanfare. Just another tired guy in a gray polo and work boots. Darnell was already there, at the grill, sleeves rolled and brow furrowed as he prepped trays of patties and breakfast wraps with the same quiet intensity. No Travis in sight. "You always open?" Noah asked casually, slipping on gloves. Darnell nodded without looking up. "Yeah. Sometimes Jaime opens with me, but mostly, it's just me. Sometimes I'm alone for a bit," Darnell admitted, not looking up from the sizzling griddle. Noah glanced at the wall clock. "You mean they schedule you solo?" Darnell gave a small shrug, flipping a pan of sausage patties with practiced precision. "Not officially, but if someone calls out or runs late, I just handle it." Noah didn't answer right away. The silence between them was heavy, not awkward, but revealing. In that pause, he felt the burden this kid had been quietly carrying. No recognition, no extra pay. Just the expectation to pick up the slack because no one else would. 15 minutes later, the back door creaked open. Jaime stepped in, her hair tied into a rushed, messy bun, cheeks flushed with stress. "Sorry, bus was late again. My sister's car's still in the shop." "No worries," Darnell said without missing a beat, calmly sliding a tray of eggs onto the warming rack. His voice was gentle, the kind that covered for others without complaint. Jaime offered Noah a half-smile. "Back for more fun?" "Couldn't stay away," he replied, tying on his apron with a smirk. By 7 a.m., the line was snaking out the door. Jaime was managing the drive-through headset and register simultaneously. Darnell moved like a machine behind the grill. Noah kept the sandwich line moving, each motion sinking them into a rhythm that felt, for a brief moment, like the kind of harmony he'd always wanted for his restaurants. And still, no Travis. It wasn't until 7:40 that the back door swung open again. Travis entered like he owned the place, carrying a crumpled paper bag soaked with grease and a jumbo soda he slurped loudly. Jaime, caught mid-order, muttered under her breath, "You're here early." Travis didn't respond. He didn't even acknowledge their existence. He walked straight to the office and slammed the door behind him. Noah inhaled deeply, grounding himself before turning back to the counter. Moments later, a woman in a blue blazer approached, her posture sharp, fingers tapping with growing irritation. "Hi, I ordered 2 breakfast wraps and a coffee 15 minutes ago. You gave me 1 wrap and no drink." "I got it. Jaime said quickly, stepping toward the register. But before she could type anything in, Travis came storming out of the office, his voice hard and impatient. "Ma'am, we're very busy. You got your food, didn't you?" "No," she said firmly. "I'm missing items." "You probably ate it and forgot," he shot back. The woman blinked. "Excuse me?" Jaime jumped in, voice calm but urgent. "We can remake the order. It's not a problem." "No," Travis snapped. "We're not giving out free food to scammers?" The air in the room shifted. The woman's jaw clenched. "Well," she said coldly, "you just lost a regular customer." She turned and walked out, not looking back. Jaime stood still, frozen in place. Her cheeks were burning. She gripped the edge of the register so hard her knuckles went white. "You good?" Noah asked quietly. "I've worked here 2 years," she said, her voice low and shaking. "I've never seen a single customer scam us. He just hates being wrong." Later that morning, Matt arrived, still wearing his school uniform. His eyes were heavy, like he hadn't slept. He clocked in and wordlessly headed to the drive-thru station. Noah rotated beside him, helping to bag the orders. "You work nights too?" Noah asked casually, trying to keep his voice soft. "Just Thursdays and weekends," Matt murmured. "My mom's hours got cut. I told her I'd cover my own stuff." He worked quickly, but there was a jitter in his hands, a tension that never settled, like he was constantly anticipating a blow that hadn't come yet. "You ever get that paycheck sorted?" Matt hesitated. "Still waiting. I called payroll, but they told me I have to go through Travis." "And did you?" "Left a note on his desk 3 days ago." Noah didn't respond. He didn't need to. The silence said everything. At 10 a.m., a new hire arrived. A tall girl in a hijab and neon sneakers. She looked around, wide-eyed, trying to find her bearings. Jaime waved her over. "Hey, you must be Wafa. I'll show you around." "Thanks," Wafa said, smiling nervously. As they headed toward the back, Travis emerged again, sipping soda like a bored tourist. He eyed Wafa up and down. "You the new one?" "Yes," she said. "You speak English?" Jaime stopped walking. "She speaks English just fine." Travis raised an eyebrow, unbothered. "Just checking. Some of you people come in here with accents so thick no one can understand you." The room went still. Even Darnell, deep in the morning rush, stopped flipping. Wafa didn't flinch, but her hands curled into tight fists. Jaime stepped forward. "That's not okay." Travis shrugged. "Relax, I'm just saying what the customers are already thinking." Noah didn't hesitate. He set his spatula down hard on the counter. "Travis, office, now!" Travis blinked, stunned. "What?" "You heard me," Noah said. His voice was sharp, but calm. "Let's go." Wafa looked confused. Jaime gave her a small nod. Noah led Travis into the back, shutting the door behind them. "You're done," Noah said plainly. Travis scoffed. "Excuse me? You're fired, effective immediately. You can't do that. I can, and I am." Travis stepped forward, trying to assert himself. "You're just a line cook?" Noah took off his glasses. Travis froze, his face drained. "Noah," he said, voice cracking. "Wait, you're—" "Yeah," Noah said. "It's me, and I've seen more than enough." Silence. "Leave your keys on the desk. Walk out the front door. Don't talk to anyone. Don't touch the register. Don't make a scene." Travis opened his mouth to argue, but then shut it again. There was something in Noah's eyes he knew better than to test. He placed the keys on the desk and walked out, head down. A few seconds later, Noah stepped out into the kitchen. The crew had fallen silent. Jaime stood by the register, stunned. Darnell was wiping down the grill. Wafa stood near the sink, unsure where to go. Noah moved to the center of the line. "For those who didn't catch it," he began, "my name's Noah Neller." "I own this place." Jaime's eyes went wide. Matt, halfway through reaching for a headset, froze. "I've been working here undercover for the last 2 days." Noah continued. I came because I heard this location wasn't right, and now I know exactly why. And I needed to see it with my own eyes. Noah stood at the center of the room, scanning the faces of every crew member. There was no anger in his voice now, just resolve. Steady, clear, and absolute. Travis will not be coming back, he continued. That kind of behavior, disrespect, laziness, discrimination, it ends now. Starting today, we rebuild this place into what it was always meant to be. He turned to Wafa, meeting her gaze with steady sincerity. You never should have been spoken to like that. I'm sorry. She gave a small nod, the tension in her posture loosening just a little. Then, to Matt. You'll have your full pay by the end of the day. We'll get your records sorted properly. Matt swallowed hard and nodded. For the first time since Noah met him, he didn't look afraid, just tired and quietly grateful. Jaime stepped forward, voice steady but uncertain. So what happens now? We stabilize, Noah said. I'll be here all week. We're bringing in more support from neighboring stores. We're going to fix the scheduling, fix the training, fix the culture. But it all starts with listening to the people who've been carrying this place. He turned to Darnell, whose eyes had been fixed on the grill but now met Noah's directly. You've been holding this line together. You're getting a raise, starting now. Darnell blinked. I just do my job. You do it better than most, Noah said, and that matters. He looked around at all of them. If you want to stay and help rebuild, I'm with you. If you're here for what this place used to be, this is your chance to walk. No one moved. Noah exhaled, something inside him easing. Good. Let's get back to work. The next morning, just after sunrise, he returned. He unlocked the back door using the spare key from the office safe and stepped into the quiet kitchen. The lights flickered on, casting a dull glow over worn countertops, sticky tiles, and dusty shelves. The kind of neglect that had become normal here, but never should have been. Noah didn't wait. He rolled up his sleeves and got to work. He scrubbed grease traps that hadn't seen daylight in weeks, tossed out expired sauces from the walk-in, wiped syrup residue off prep tables with practiced efficiency. 1 hour in, his knuckles were raw, but the kitchen was already breathing differently. Jaime arrived next, rubbing the sleep from her eyes. You're here early. Couldn't sleep, Noah said with a small smile. Figured I'd start where the damage runs deepest. She grabbed gloves and joined him at the sink. I didn't think anyone noticed how bad it had gotten. I noticed, he said. I just didn't see it until now. By the time Darnell arrived, the room looked different. Still worn, but no longer neglected. Darnell paused in the doorway, quietly taking it in. Morning, Dee, Jaime said. Morning, he replied, setting his bag down. Then, looking around, looks different. We're scrubbing off a few years of indifference, Noah said, rinsing a tray. At 7 sharp, Natalie arrived, the interim manager brought in from a high-performing store. She was in her early 40s, walked with quiet confidence, and didn't waste time. You must be the storm I've been sent into, she said, shaking Noah's hand. Appreciate you coming on short notice. I've seen worse. First, I need schedules and role lists. Then I need to see how they work. You've got full autonomy, Noah said. I'll stay on the line. Call me if you need anything. She nodded. Let's get to work. By 8, Natalie had already pulled Jaime aside to dissect the chaos in the schedule. Noah stayed at the grill with Darnell, quietly watching how she moved. She didn't shout. She watched, she listened, and she asked. By 9, the first improvements had started rolling in. She found out Wafa had been scheduled for an 8-hour double shift on just her second day. Natalie fixed it on the spot and took her aside for a brief one-on-one. When they returned, Wafa looked steadier, more grounded. Mid-morning, the real test came. A breakfast crowd slammed them with 24 orders in 20 minutes. Noah spotted Matt at the drive-thru, headset on, eyes darting between the POs and the prep screen. His hands moved fast, but his shoulders were tense, like he was still waiting for something to go wrong. "Matt," Noah called over calmly. "Take a breath. You're doing fine." Matt didn't respond, but a second later, his shoulders dipped just a bit. The panic in his chest had eased. After the rush, Natalie pulled Noah aside. "This crew's sharp," she said, "but they've been running on fumes, burnt but not broken, and no one's ever taught them how to work together." "I saw that," Noah said. "This won't be fixed in a week, but you've got something worth saving." By early afternoon, Natalie requested one-on-one meetings with every staff member. Noah stepped off the line and used the time to call HR. Matt's pay was officially escalated with a same-day deadline. By the time dinner rolled around, things had shifted. Orders moved fast, but without panic. Fewer side glances. Less hesitation. Jaime even cracked a joke about the drive-through speaker being older than her car. Darnell actually smiled when a customer complimented the fries. But of course, not everything clicked into place. At 5, a part-time closer named Eric showed up. Wrinkled hoodie under his uniform shirt, phone already in hand. "Eric," Natalie called from across the kitchen, "either you're on shift or you're not. Phone goes away." Eric barely looked up. "I just got here. Give me a second." "You clocked in. That means you're working." He sighed, slid the phone into his pocket, and pulled it out again when her back was turned. Noah watched for 30 minutes as Eric drifted through the shift, sweeping lazily, ignoring fryer calls, avoiding eye contact. When Natalie confronted him, Eric shrugged. "I'm not lazy, I just don't like being bossed around every second." "You're not being bossed," she said. "You're being asked to do your job." "I don't need a babysitter." Noah stepped in. "Eric, office, now." Eric slumped into a chair. "I've been here 8 months. I do things my way." Noah stayed standing. "And, in those 8 months, how many new hires have you trained? How many shifts have you covered when someone called out? How often did you step up when things got hard?" Eric shrugged. "Not my job." "It is now," Noah said. "Or you're done." Eric sat up. "You serious? I don't reward dead weight. You want a check? Earn it. Otherwise, I'll pay you out for today and you can walk." Eric scoffed. "Whatever, not worth the drama." He tore off his apron and walked out. Outside the office, Natalie had already reassigned roles. Wafa was on headset. Matt moved to register with a crash course from Jaime, and Darnell anchored the grill like a pro. By dinner's end, they had pulled off a full rush. No missed orders, no shouting, no tension thick enough to cut. Just teamwork. As the last customer left, Noah gathered the team near the drink station. "I know today wasn't easy," he said, "but I saw something we've been missing for a long time, people backing each other up. No drama, no fear, just real work. That's what this place should be." He turned to Natalie. "You've been a force." She shrugged. "Just clearing the weeds. You've got good soil here." Noah nodded, then looked around at the tired but steady faces. "I'm not promising miracles," he said, "but I'm promising change. You'll see it in your schedules, you'll see it in your pay, and you'll feel it every time you walk in, knowing you matter here." Noah paused for a long moment. Then he looked at them. Really looked at them, one by one. "And if anyone ever treats you like you don't matter, whether it's a manager or a customer, you come straight to me. We don't ignore things anymore. We deal with them." Jaime crossed her arms, a slow breath leaving her chest. "Feels like we're finally allowed to breathe." "You are," Noah said, his voice carrying a kind of quiet warmth that made the room feel safer. Matt raised his hand slightly. "I got a deposit notification during my break. The full amount." Noah gave a small nod. "Good. That's how it should have been from day one." Darnell didn't say anything, but he dipped his head once, enough for Noah to recognize the rare acknowledgement of trust. Noah took a step back and smiled. "All right, go home, rest. We start again tomorrow." The crew filed out slowly, a little lighter on their feet than they had come in. Noah stayed behind, wiping down the last prep table, moving with deliberate care. Natalie packed up her bag of notes and stood near the door. "You planning to stay here long?" she asked. "Long enough to make sure this doesn't fall apart again." "Good," she said. "A repair job's only worth doing if someone sticks around to reinforce it." Noah glanced at the register, then the back kitchen, then the quiet, dimming front of the restaurant. "I'm not going anywhere." The new week began without banners or speeches. No grand gestures, but the ground beneath everything had shifted. Noah remained in the background. Not undercover anymore, but not looming either. He showed up before the lights came on and stayed long after the doors had closed. Every system he'd put in place, he tested himself. If it broke, he fixed it. If it needed explaining, he stood beside the team and explained it again. Natalie agreed to stay a few extra days, helping stabilize the schedule and walk Jaime through the essentials of shift leadership. They still weren't fully staffed, but the difference was felt in the air. Fewer call-outs, fewer sighs at the start of a shift. Customers no longer met the register with an apology in their tone before ordering. The drive-through moved smoothly, the line rarely spilling out onto the street. Noah sat at a table by the window, laptop open and a pile of folded papers beside him. Feedback forms. Most were scrawled in pen. Jaime had set up a box by the time clock. It filled up fast. Some were surface level. Better gloves for small hands. Fix the microwave in the break room. Others cut deeper. One note, printed in block letters, read, "It used to feel like no one cared if we did a good job. Now it feels like someone's watching." Noah looked up just in time to see Wafa hand off a tray to a customer. Posture relaxed, eyes alert. She'd changed since her first shift, no longer tensing at every glance. Jaime had taken her under her wing, and now they moved like a team, switching positions mid-shift without needing a word. As Wafa passed, she caught Noah's eye and gave a subtle nod. He returned it. Matt, across the lobby, was mopping up a spill near the soda fountain. His movements were neat, careful, almost ritualistic. Still quiet, still cautious, still hesitant when speaking up. Later that afternoon, after the rush, Noah called him over. "Got a minute?" Matt wiped his hands and approached slowly. "Sure. How's school?" "Fine," Matt replied, fidgeting. "Math's the worst." Noah smiled. "You thinking about what comes next?" "I guess. College is expensive." "You ever think about business classes?" Matt blinked. "I don't know. I just work here for now." "You pay attention. You don't get overwhelmed. You've got good instincts. If you wanted to, there's a future here. Management, training, tuition help. It's not just talk." Matt looked down. "I didn't think people like me got that kind of thing." "That's the problem," Noah said, "and we're fixing it." He pulled a sealed envelope from his bag and handed it over. "Your back pay, plus a little extra for the hassle. HR processed it. I signed off." Matt took it slowly, lips parting in shock. "I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything. Just keep showing up the way you've been showing up." Later that evening, Noah sat in the office with Jaime and Darnell. The door was open, always, unless it was a personal matter. Natalie was gone now, but she'd left Jaime ready to lead. Darnell had declined a title but was now officially being paid as a kitchen lead. "We still have 2 open shifts," Jaime said, tapping her notepad. "Saturday night and Monday morning." "Eric's not coming back," Noah replied. "We'll need to post both." "I can cover Monday," Darnell offered. "But not both." "No," Noah said. "You've already picked up too much. We'll rotate." "There's a kid who just applied," Jaime said. "Isaiah. No experience, but came in clean, asked good questions." "Call him in for a short shift," Noah said. "See how he handles pace." As Jaime left, Darnell lingered. "You really planning to stay here long term?" "I was supposed to be back at HQ 2 days ago," Noah said. "But you're still here." "Haven't gone," Noah replied. "Not to be rude, but CEOs don't usually scrub fryer baskets." Noah leaned back. I missed too much. I'm recalibrating what this job actually means. Darnell nodded slowly. That's rare. I don't want this place to depend on me. I want the system to work without me, but I've got to rebuild it with people I can trust. Then you're on the right track, Darnell said, standing. The days moved quickly after that. Isaiah came in for his trial shift, took a full lunch rush like he'd been doing it for months. Jaime guided him with steady feedback. At the end of the shift, he asked if he could come back. Jaime handed him a printed schedule without hesitation. Meanwhile, Natalie's report to HR recommended a new store-specific resource fund, partially funded by corporate, managed locally, used for staff emergencies, bus repairs, school supplies, groceries. Noah approved it instantly. He also requested a full audit of management training protocols across the company, starting with anonymous feedback from every location. What happened here wouldn't happen again. Not on his watch. Friday night arrived quietly. The restaurant buzzed with activity, but it wasn't strained. Jaime floated through the room, assigning tasks calmly. Wafa made a joke that sent a customer into laughter. Darnell was walking Isaiah through grill rotations with patience and purpose. Matt stood at the front counter explaining kids' meal options to a young mom, and for the first time, he didn't hesitate once. Noah stepped outside as the sun dipped beneath the skyline. The shadows stretched across the sidewalk in long gold-tinged lines. A delivery driver approached, clipboard in hand. "You the manager?" "Something like that," Noah said. The man handed over a box. "Signage kit, feedback display, info cards." "Thanks," Noah said, signing. The man glanced at the building. "You guys under new ownership or something? Place used to feel rough." "No," Noah said with a small smile. "Same ownership, just different leadership." The man nodded and walked off. Inside, Jaime waved. "You want to say something before close?" Noah shook his head. "Not tonight. You've got it." She turned, already giving out end-of-shift assignments. Noah lingered at the threshold for a beat longer, taking in the sound of a team finally working like one. No yelling, no fear, just people doing their jobs and being treated like they mattered for it. He stepped outside, closed the door behind him, and let the sound of the restaurant carry on without him. It wasn't a rescue anymore. It was a reset.